So we are back. We just watched episode 1 of Daredevil Reborn, and we have watched seasons 1 through 3 on Netflix when it was on Netflix, and so we're going to review Daredevil Reborn, which is now on Disney Plus. So episode 1.
So we just finished it, right? And honestly, I thought the first 10 minutes were pretty good, but then after that, I feel like the direction of the show, there is no sense of direction. I feel like it feels like a repeated loop. Because in season 3, right, it was kind of like it focused on Kingpin and Murdoch, right? In season 3.
Season 3, yes, and it developed a story with, remember, the FBI agent. And going to work for him, and I won't. We're gonna spoil a little bit eventually, but also the other FBI agent that turned with Daredevil, went with Matt Murdock, and he worked for them against Kingpin, even though he got sucked into it because of financial reasons. Remember that?
Yeah.
But it was a well-written, well-developed season, story, and this
episode, it seems like there's no sense of direction. I feel like, the direction is just Kingpin wanting to become mayor, right? And him becoming mayor. So what's going to happen after that, right?
It's pretty vague. I mean, maybe they're just keeping it vague for episode 1.
But also one thing, that I don't like of the show is the tone. Like, it feels too Disney, right? Like, Netflix had its own tone, right? Like we were talking about earlier. The tone was different.
I don't know how to put it, but the feel of the mood of the way it's shot, the lighting,
the
cinematography, the mood of it. Daredevil was on the darker side of it was always kind of gloomy. It was always kind of, even when they were having fun and being silly and goofing around, right? There was in Josie's bar and doing things. It was never well lit and very crisp, and it was more of a darker, kind of a creepy side, almost more of a thriller, like you're watching a thriller movie instead of like a drama.
Right.
And this is filmed kind of like a drama.
Well, no, Disney has its own ways of like filming stuff, and if you look at their movies and their TV shows, it's like very clean. The cinematography, right? It's very clean. It looks like an average movie. There's no like lighting or its own distinct way of shooting it. In a lot of ways, we did a review on Captain America. The Captain America was that way too, but it's the same lighting.
It was the same, but Daredevil is a completely different character in their. I don't think they took into consideration that. I don't know if they brought back the same writers. I don't know if they brought back. Maybe we should investigate that, but overall, I think my analysis, and I have hope for it just because I enjoyed.
No, but what do you think about the whole like Foggy dying, right? It wasn't very impactful, I think, because it's been a long time since we watched the other seasons, right? So we don't have like a character attachment, right? So it would have been better if they killed him off once him and Foggy are together, not in like the beginning of the show.
Exactly. So the very first episode of the 4th season, all of a sudden, one of the big characters of the first 3 seasons dies. And there's no fanfare, there's no funeral, it just goes 1 year later. Well, okay. Yeah, Matt Murdock, this is his best friend from college. They've known each other for, a decade or more. It wasn't impactful at all. They didn't make it impactful.
His death wasn't impactful, right? Because, we haven't, it's just that reason, right? Because in order for it to be impactful, we have to have some sort of like attachment to the character,
right? In which I did for the first 3 seasons. I mean, but
we haven't seen it in a long time, so there's not going to be any attachment.
And you forget about how silly he was and how goofy he was, and then him getting into a fight, which was funny one time in one of the seasons, and protecting Karen at one point, right? Remember that? It was silly. So you grew attached to him and to Karen, but now it's been, a few years since it's been out, and okay, you're getting into the characters again, you're getting into it again, and all of a sudden, one of the main characters dies.
Yeah.
And you go, wait, what? And by a guy that somehow, why was Bullseye out of prison? Because he got operated on, and then they don't explain any of that. Maybe it's in that other show, Echo, or whatever, but I don't know if I want to watch that. I heard that wasn't very good.
Yeah. So overall, we think, I don't really have high hopes, this show. I feel like the direction is, like, going to be different.
Well, I have high hopes, but that's different between expectations. I expect the bar is pretty low.
It's a low because it's Disney, right? Netflix.
Yeah, but I was
better.
also hoping that they wouldn't mess it up. I'm hoping, but my expectations pretty
Well, things
low.
can change, right? Because it's only the first episode, right? So
Yeah.
things can change. But overall,
We got to go in and do episode 2.
But overall, I give it, the first episode, I give it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that rating. I'm on the same. I'm on the same level. I mean, a 6 is a little bit generous, but I'll give it that just because the acting is still good and the characters I'm hoping are still good.